races been treating you?
Pretty good. Today went pretty well. Had
You been betting just Keeneland?
no, I've been yeah, I mean mostly Keeneland, but Santa Anita too, and a little bit of Aqueduct with some of the turf races. But uh, yeah, I mean Keeneland's kind of it's it's been kind of a weird meet too. It's been like a ton of short price, but also some prices. It's either like the favorites or like some really big bombs. Um, so it's kind of been hard to string together long sequences. So I've been trying to pick my spots more and just play like turf races, like doubles and exactas more than pick fives and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's been pretty chalky some days. Like, I think in the first 2 weeks or some time span, it was like 49%
Yeah,
the
that's what I
favorite
mean.
was
Yeah,
hitting on
it
just
was crazy.
all races combined. It was
No, there was a
wild.
few. Yeah,
Yeah, you couldn't. There was like entire days where I was just going through and checking the results, and it was like pick three, $16, pick four, $36. You go to the next one, pick three, $12, pick four, $28. Like just pathetic payouts on a lot of the
well, yeah,
horizontal
and
stuff.
the ones like the upsets that were happening were like completely like 30 to 1 shot like shipper. So it would be like
Yeah.
on a card would be like 7 favorites and like 2 30 to 1 shots. So it's like those like trip horses that are like 7 to 1, like those horses like weren't getting home. It was either like crazy maiden bombs or
Uh-huh.
but yeah, it's starting to be a little bit more. I've had yeah, I've definitely done better the last week, 2 weeks than I did the first 2 weeks. And yeah, Santa Anita's been good too. The card tomorrow looks pretty shitty at Santa Anita, but they've had some decent racing on the turf. I love the turf pick threes that Keeneland and Santa Anita have. I love so because the dirt racing in California can be hit or miss too.
I think that's the only. Yeah, I'm not good at the dirt stuff out there. I think that was the only horizontal bet I hit. That it was the $3 Keeneland turf, and it still only paid like $100 or something. Pretty
Yeah, if it was
small
chalky.
payout, but it's been alright.
Yeah.
A little chalky. Alright, what races you looking at here for some of your plays?
Yeah, so we're not doing like a sequence. We're just kind of. So I'm not. Yeah, I mean, I've only looked a little bit at Saturday. Um, just give me a second to kind of check my notes.
It's been some difficult races, like you're saying with the bombs, and a lot of these races, it's like an obvious favorite and then 8 horses that are kind of the same horse, and it's just take your shot, and it's a lot of times like the 10 to 1 or better prices that are hidden as the bomb. And the dirt stuff at Keeneland right now is crazy as far as I've probably lost more money not leaning into the speed bias enough at this meet on the
Yeah,
dirt.
you got to be within a couple lengths for sure. I think it's definitely playing a little bit more fair um, the last week or two, but it kind of was. It started. I mean, it's still definitely speed favoring. You still have to be close, but that first couple of weeks, the rail bias has kind of gone away too. But inside speed was
Yeah,
yeah, that was money for. It's pretty annoying that like when those biases are that bad on like this week. The meet's like 4 weeks. Same thing with, it's like when it's supposed to be like the best meet with the best horses, it's like okay, but yeah, that's why a lot of the favorites are winning, because just the horses get crushed that are going to be within 2 lengths of the lead. Like they're the only ones with a shot on the dirt.
And you see in the first few weeks, you see the scratches coming in. It seems to me like they know the bias, and it's like if they see that the speed horse or the 2 speed horses are staying in that race, you see the deeper horses scratching out. Like they're gonna wait and probably not run at Keeneland. Maybe just wait until Churchill Downs or something.
Yeah, it was a gate to wire winner in the stakes race today at like 30-1.
Yeah, that was frustrating.
That was like a 1 Cox horse. I shouldn't have played as heavily, but I mean, I just singled him. I thought he would stretch out and just kind of dominate, but didn't break well and had no chance from the back.
Yeah, I got out super slow. I thought I was on some of the other horses more, but I didn't even look at that horse. And then you see it win, and you're like, yeah, it's the front place dirt horse, or the front place speed horse on dirt. You got to include it.
Exactly. Yeah, I would have hit the pick 5. I had a huge double to the 1 in the next race that won. But
oh damn. Okay, I'll start us off. I just took a look at the sequence, and I'm just looking for non-maiden races. And if I can avoid it, 2-year-old races. I think I did that in the sequence. I haven't been hitting the maidens or the 2-year-olds at all at Keeneland, so I was just looking for something to group it together, a couple of those races. So I just went with the 7, 8, or 9, and I'll probably play this as a 50-cent pick 3 as well, but I'll go through some of the other like exact as I'm setting up with it. So in race 7, mile on the turf. Haven't been that many mile on the turf races, I feel like, this meeting. My Brisnet says 11. That sounds about right. I went with the I think the obvious favorite does have a good chance of gate to wiring this here. Almost did it at a mile and 16. Did it pretty easily at a mile, or 7 furlongs last time out at Kentucky Downs. And then I think is getting a little bit of a jockey upgrade with Frankie Dettori. Seems like it's pretty turned up right now, so seems like a mile will just be a perfect distance, and there's not a whole lot of speed. I think the fractions that this horse has put out at the previous 2 races will put it at the front, like probably alone or not getting pressed too hard. So I probably would set up an exacta here with that horse on top, the 11, Keho Beach. And then underneath, look at a couple of the mid-pack or the closer horses I like. The number 2, Miss Astor with Manny Franco. Getting back to Lasix, has looked good at longer distances, but hasn't raced at a mile in a little while. Came in second last time at a Keeneland race, similar level. Has good late pace speed figures, just a good closer. I can see that. Manny hasn't been good, Manny has been decent on his starts here at Keeneland so far, and I like this horse had a good trip, or a good winning push a couple races back. That was pretty good looking, so I like that horse underneath, and possibly boxed in an exacta with the Keho Beach. Those are my top 2 in this race, but underneath I'd also like the 4, Bella Wrights. Has got a couple lower or slower pace races recently and still closed into them alright, and goes back to Lasix now. The speed figures earlier in the year were a little slower, I think, or at least that 70 speed figure, just because it was such a slow upfront pace. So I don't hold that race against her here. Going Luis Saez, who has been lukewarm here at Keeneland, but he's can turn it up when he needs to, and especially when he gets these big horses under him. I like this horse as well to be a little forward ahead of the 2, Miss Astor, and I see those 2 closing in tight on the 11. So yeah, that would probably be my 3 focuses here on this race, is the 11 with the 2-4 underneath.
Yeah, I think this is definitely a good betting race. Weirdly, at this meet, the Ward horses aren't firing at all. It does say 16%, but he's flopped with a lot of short price favorites and drawn the 11 posts. I don't know. That's probably one I'm probably going to try and beat in this race. I mean, definitely has an early pace edge, but it might be a little bit of speed to his inside that'll make him kind of. It's a pretty short run into the first turn, so I think there's a good chance he might get caught a little bit wide. We'll see. I mean, if he goes right to the front, that gives him a chance. I do like what you're thinking with the 2 and the 4. I definitely like both of those horses. Both run pretty strong late pace figures. The 2, my concern is just she was far back on a slow pace, going 1.5 miles, and then cutting all the way back to a mile it's a pretty big cut back. So I think she's going to be just dead last. I like the 1 beach walking in this race. It's another one cutting back. This one I think wants to cut back in distance. 1 at 1 1/16 at Keeneland in an allowance race last October. So it was 1 1/16. This is a mile that won at 20-1 that day with Machado. Last time was Keen at Keeneland. Kind of made an early move. So I think this one looks perfect. She got the cut back in distance. Good ground saving trip. You definitely want to be on the inside in this Keeneland turf course, saving ground. So yeah, I think the 1 would be my play in here, and then I would probably use the 2 and 4 in exactas, but yeah, I mean, and yeah, for me, I think I'd probably just chuck the 11, just the way that I don't know. I just don't think they're watching Ward's juice or something. I don't know. Something's up with him. Even like the race today where was the turf sprint where the 1 won that I had, thankfully, but the 8 that was a Ward horse that cleared to the front. It's like all alone on the lead, and I thought there was no chance, and like completely faded down the stretch. So I don't know, but yeah, I really like the 1 in this race, but I like your horses too.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about with Wesley Lloyd. It's been kind of brutal, some of the duds he's putting out. I thought I was willing to give him the benefit of the doubt switching the Frankie Dettori here. John Velasquez has been a little up and down as well. Like, he just kind of sits on his horses, and if they fire, they fire, and if not, he just sits there and nothing happens. So I thought the jockey upgrade gave it a shot, but I would definitely, like any exacta, probably box all those horses mentioned. And then if I'm playing the pick 3, I'd throw in a couple of those others. I'd try to get to that 1 you like. I like the 7 strike when ready, only the 5th race for this horse, but 1 closing into a super fast pace at 1 mile, and then 2 back closed into a pretty slow pace and just pulled that one off for the win too. So that was a couple others I'd throw in the pick 3. It's a pretty difficult race, even if you throw out the favorite, I think.
Yeah, no, it's a good betting race. Yeah, the more I'm looking at it, the more I'm liking it, and I'll definitely be playing some sequences into that race.
All right, we'll go on. I'm just going to do the 7, 8, 9. So we'll go into the 8 now. This is on dirt, mile on the 8, the Fayette grade 2. I didn't see a lot of speed in this race, and it's a dirt race, and you can come a little off the pace on these routes, these dirt routes right now at Keeneland now. It's playing a little fair. But I did go on top with a speed horse that I think should be the lone speed and can kind of make their own fractions. I went with the 2, Tumbarumba. I really like this horse, and I've loved him at a mile watching him run, and I thought he's looked good at a mile, but his best speed figures actually were at the end of last year at a mile and an 8, coming back to that distance now at Keeneland, where he has won, I guess 2 years back with some good speed figures at this course. I think this horse is going to be on the lead and can kind of make their own fractions, and if the mile and the 8 stretch out is as advantageous as it seems it has been for this horse, I think you'll see him push strong in the stretch to extend the lead. So I thought that was kind of a smash play for this horse. I've tried him in a few other of his recent races, and I mean, it's first in the Hooper grade 3, and then second to some pretty good horses and some different dynamic races. Came in second in the slop last, so I could see, I like that angle as well, with a little bit condition, maybe some extra condition running in the mud last time out. So I'm going to smash Tumbarumba here, and then underneath I would like I like the 3 Uno Mas Bourbon. Hasn't ran off Lasix a lot, so a little question of that, but just has some really good strong finishing speed figures. This is only the 4th race out of his maiden. Has 2 with Francisco Arieta, and it looks like he has good control, good idea of how to run this horse. So I like that horse closing in late behind Tumbarumba. I think there's a couple others you could throw in to be second in the exacta or third in the trifecta, like War Campaign, Rattle and Roll. Those horses have looked good closing. I'm just going to lean into the speed bias a little bit and go with Tumbarumba on top. How do you see this one?
Yeah, I definitely like Tumbarumba. Especially, you need to be inside going into that first turn on the dirt. Horses that have been getting caught out wide on those routes they're no-shows pretty much at the end of the race. So definitely favor the inside horses. Yeah, the favorite Hit Show, Brad Cox horse, kind of against. Anytime a horse runs a big race in the slop, they usually don't improve off that effort. They usually regress. So I like playing against those horses as favorites. And again, the 8 post, kind of a closer. The 7 Heroic Move, Diodoro, who's back. He hasn't. I was waiting to see if, because I mean, he just got let back in from being suspended for a while, like obviously a known juicer. So I was interested to see how his horses were going to be going this Keeneland meet. It doesn't seem, he's 0 for 4 with the second, so his horses haven't really been firing, but this one did move last time, beat by Hit Show, but moving into his barn. So I think he's kind of interesting. Same with Rattle and Roll, but as far as the win end, I do like Tumbarumba, even though he settles for second a lot. And then my top pick would actually probably be the 1 Trademark. Had a little bit of a break last time. Then off the layoff last time, kind of made a wide move early into a pace, kind of sets him up perfectly to stretch out to his best distance. Has figures for this race, for this type of race. Last year was the favorite in this race, flopped, but then won the Clark and run a big figure mile and 8 at Churchill. So I think this one's just kind of circling back into form. Can just ride the rail, be kind of mid-pack. I think he's going to get a good trip. So yeah, I like the one and the 2 in race number 8.
Did you get a look at the 9 Grand Aspen coming back? Anything to say about that horse?
Yeah, that horse, I just don't see it this time. He's probably gonna be moderate price and kind of a horse that wants to be forwardly placed with an outside post. Again, it's probably gonna be caught 3 wide going into the first turn. So it's really only has run some fast races, but one of them down at Gulfstream, which I don't really give a ton of credit for, and then an off the race and an allowance race at Churchill. So, I mean, this one definitely could improve, kind of moving into a new barn, but I just don't think this race is pretty salty, and I don't think he can win this time.
Yeah, I get it. What was Diodoro? What was his? Do you have any information about his suspension? I don't really know him.
Not really. I mean, I think he'd been out for like 2 years. Like, it was a pretty significant suspension, but he's like mostly a claiming trainer. Got a million positives, and but was one of those trainers that he wins at a 25-30% clip. But yeah, so it seems like at Keeneland he's not. He's playing it careful, but yeah, if you see him at like Louisiana Downs or something, then expect his horses to improve a great deal.
Okay, I'll keep an eye out. That's a good angle. We'll finish up 9th race, mile on the turf again. 2 milers here, G3. Pretty interesting race. A lot of cool horses. Horses that have gone up against each other a couple times. A lot of horses off Kentucky Downs. Tricari, the favorite here. Understandably so. I was going to do kind of like a little revenge comeback angle. I think there's some good ones in this race, and I saw a couple I went with. Starting with the 3 Hershey. Inside post here on the turf. Edgar Morales again, 4th time out. Ran against Brilliant Birdie and Neat and Depiction. A couple of these horses last time out in Kentucky Downs. Looked pretty good there. Best speed figure. First off of Lasix, put up that speed figure. Some good fractions. I don't know how much to read into that with Kentucky Downs. I don't know. It'll probably slow down a bit comparatively, but was right there with Brilliant Birdie and Neat, and I think Brilliant Birdie had a lot easier trip than this horse. So I like that horse as a comeback angle. First time gelding here as well. Should be able to get out to the front. And if you look at on Brisnet, the speed bias I guess has gone down a little bit. This week, speed bias, 3 races at a mile, 67% speed bias. That's a small sample size, but these like 6 furlongs or the mile turf races have been a little bit more speed bias than the routes or the longer routes. So I went with Hershey on top. I liked Hershey. I also liked the 12 Twirling Point. This is my other comeback angle. I'm fading Brilliant Birdie, and then I'm fading Tricari with Twirling Point. They raced 3 back for Twirling Point, and if you look at Tricari, that was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 races ago. He's had a really stout 3-year-old year. He hasn't really shown like any depreciation in his efforts, but you gotta imagine they're gonna want to get him rested a bit soon. So I like Twirling Point as another horse that should be just off the pace. Yeah, it's gonna be far out. but should be able to move forward and close in a little bit, probably with Tricari, maybe be 3 wide, hopefully less. I just thought it would be interesting to take these horses that have a little less wear on them this year, but have put up some really good efforts, some good speed figures, going against these favorites that have raced quite a bit more. So I went with those two, Hershey, Twirling Point, and then I really like Laganos underneath. Gets Christian Torres again. He's had an awful meet so far, as well as the trainer Steven Asmussen. But this horse just always finishes right there. So I don't think it wins, but I was really interested in it as like a second or third place finish. Also, it's placed really close against Brilliant Birdie, Tricari, and Neat. So a lot of the horses that have experience racing each other, similar distances and everything. I'm gonna go with these couple horses that have a little less wear on them this year. What did you think of this one?
Yeah, definitely kind of thinking the same way as you. I do think there's the new shooters, the 8 and 9, exiting sprint races. Both kind of ran really big late pace figures. That pace wasn't that fast at Kentucky Downs. In that grade 1. And that was won by a good horse and Howard Wolowitz. So I think both of those two were kind of wild cards. But yeah, I'm against Tricari and Brilliant Birdie for a lot of the same reasons that you said. And the post, right? I mean, Tricari's the 11 post at 2-1, and Brilliant Birdie's at 7-2 is the 6 post. That's not bad. I probably have to use Brilliant Birdie too, just because of how well Sherry DeVoe horses has been firing. But then, kind of like you, I like.
Yeah, I would take Brilliant Birdie over Tricari.
Sure. I probably similar to that other turf race from the 11 post. I'd probably chuck Tricari. I also thought he had a great trip in the city of Troy, if I remember correctly, and just didn't stack up to those horses. So I think he's an honest horse. Obviously, he's a good horse, but I don't think he's anything really special, and I don't see him getting a good trip at all from the 11 post, going a mile. Likes to be forwardly placed, so same thing. Love to see short price favorites drawn to the outside that I don't think are gonna get a good trip. But then, yeah, the 1 and the 2, or the 1 and the 3, I like best. Hershey, Gelding, gelded this horse. I'm not sure why, but definitely ran a big race last time, and I think was maybe best. Getting a great trip in that pocket, but really had to wait. And Brilliant Birdie had already kind of gotten his momentum going and already built a lead, but before he could find a seam. But looks to get a really good trip up close and hugging the rail. And then Neat again was the 10 post last time. I thought ran a really good race closing and has shown a really good late kick. So I think he's going to get a good ground saving trip as well. So I like the 1 and the 3, 1, 3, 6 on top. And then I don't know, I might use the 8 and the 9 on some backup tickets or something like that. Just because I think they're dangerous. Evades second in the U.S. off a really good effort sprinting, and Mansa Musa, really strong late pace figure last time. So I think both of those, stretching out to a mile, they have the early speed from the sprint races to kind of put them in a good position early and be dangerous. So.
Okay, yeah, I like the idea with the 8 and 9. It's hard to leave Tyler off the ticker right now. If I can get to this, so if I'm planning to get the pick 3, I'm going to be able to get to a lot of these. I'll probably put $30-$40 in it. Hope it pays $100 or $200. Also, be careful with these also availables. A couple of these have got into some of these races this meet, and like they're just bombs and they're live sometimes for no reason.
Yeah,
So
thankfully,
I think a lot of bombs in this race you can play.
yeah, thankfully those have been in the. I mean, those are usually in the dirt races though, like that.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I don't see any of those horses winning from 14 posts going a mile on this. But yeah, I'm actually pretty excited for this. I love these turf betting races. I already found two favorites that I hate. So this turf pick 3, I'm gonna be licking my chops for on Saturday.
Yeah, I might have to go back. Where's
It
the first
looks
leg
like
of
I
the
think it's
turf
gonna be
pick
the
three?
5th. I think it'll be 5, 7, 9. Yeah.
Okay, I'll probably go back and handicap that before the day since I've already done the rest of the work. I think these are going to be better races in the last few weeks. This isn't the last weekend in Keeneland, right? There's still one more.
This is it. It ends Saturday. Yeah.
Okay, I was about to say it'd be a little underwhelming, I guess, for the last weekend maybe, but some cool horses. I think even in this last race, there's like some big bombs you can play underneath the ones we mentioned. I also like the 5 Demolisher, 5 in a row, and just looks solid doing it, but competition is questionable, I guess. And then the 2 Depiction raced Brilliant Birdie close a couple times. Really good late speed figures. Interesting horses, 30-1, and it gets Florent Giraud. So yeah, some good betting horses in these races and some interesting pace breakdowns you can think about.
Yeah, I'm just looking, and they end the sequence with the maiden claimer on Saturday, which is annoying, but yeah, I mean, it's just with the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, that's
With
why
the
I didn't go
with
that
the
far.
Breeders' Cup next weekend, a lot of the top horses obviously just training for that, so I feel like they kind of front load their grade 1s and stuff at this Keeneland meet for that reason.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you have? I know you watched a lot of Del Mar. What kind of like biases, first day, second day, should we be leaning into there?
Well, that had the biggest speed bias of all time. So on the dirt, like you needed to be within 2 lengths. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was it got a little bit better at the end where it was maybe a little bit more fair, but it was inside too, which is weird though, because Del Mar's typically like outside stock. It's kind of like a slingshot track in that aspect of it. Like the bias is usually the opposite, so it was really weird this year. It was inside speed, so it was kind of the complete opposite. So definitely gonna have to pay attention. Um, to see kind of if they made any adjustments there. And then the turf was good. Played kind of like a normal turf course, where you still want to save ground and be behind horses and then kind of wheel out. But the only weird thing is there wasn't a. It kind of favored the closers, or the speed didn't really hold on the turf going 5 furlongs, which is weird.
Okay, that's
Usually
okay.
that short of a distance, um, usually heavily favors the speed, just because I mean it's just such a short distance. Their turf sprints are 5 furlongs, not 5.5 or 6. So, um, and I think last year when the turf sprint was won by a gate to wire shot, setting ridiculous fractions. So that could be the turf sprints could be better betting races this year if you can actually pass the horses in the stretch. But again, at Del Mar, I mean, with the Breeders' Cup, there's going to be superior horses, so um, that might change. But yeah, that's definitely that's definitely a weird quirk that was present this summer.
Oh yeah, I'll have to keep an eye out for that. On the how or when was the last time Del Mar hosted the Breeders' Cup? Is it always in Del Mar?
No, I think last year was Keeneland, but I think the year before was Del Mar.
Okay, I was gonna say sometimes when they have like a big day coming in and it's not usual, they scrape down that dirt track so they get like crazy speed figures blowing up their cars.
Yeah, I want to say it was pretty formful last time it was at Del Mar. But
Okay.
yeah, it was very inside speed favoring on the dirt, and then the turf course is pretty fair. But though there was one thing with the sprints that was interesting. But routes you could win gate to wire, setting slow paces. So
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited for that. It's been good here at Keeneland. I'm excited for this weekend. We'll see how it goes.
yeah, exactly. Like I saw the PPs and stuff came out, but I'm just like, no, I got too much work to do this weekend. Gotta make some scores this weekend to have
Exactly.
to be ready for next weekend.
Exactly. Yeah, and if it goes too bad Saturday, we get Kentucky Downs, a terrible maiden card on Sunday with like 10 maiden specials in a row. Don't know what's going on with that.
I will not be. I think I played 2 races at Kentucky Downs, and that was it.
Or Churchill Downs, what did I say?
Churchill. Oh, Churchill opens on they open it on Sunday.
Yeah, but it was a really weird card. It's like all maiden stuff. I can't play it. All right, appreciate you dropping in and helping me out with that.
Yeah, no problem. You got me pumped. Some good opportunities.
Let's get it. Let's get ready for it. Let's hit it big so we can get in some of those big money tournaments at the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, that's right. Well, maybe win an entry this weekend. Win the.
Yeah, that'd be fun.